So we just finished up 2 Samuel chapter 19, some really interesting stuff that happens there. We see David re-encounter some particular people. He re-encounters Amasa, he re-encounters Shimei, Mephibosheth, and Barzillai. So the interesting thing was he encountered all these people on his way out of the city, or we read about them as David is fleeing the city while Absalom has rebelled against him and has taken a city, and David leaves the city instead of letting the city be destroyed in civil war. But now David has won. He's conquered the enemy that actually came from him, much as Christ conquered Satan and will return in victory. And so he's on his way back, and there's these interesting guys. Amasa was actually the commander of the enemy, and David actually says, "You'll be commander over my people." And it's amazing how, Amasa should have been killed. He turned against David. He should have been killed. But David was so merciful that he said, "You know what? You turned against me, but the greatest enemy, Absalom, he's gone, and I'm going to give you a chance to serve as my commander." And it's so amazing that when we turn to Christ, he not only spares our life, but he even gives us an amazing calling that we get to pursue. So that's amazing. And then we have Shimei, who was cursing David and throwing rocks at David and just uttering all kinds of terrible stuff against David the whole time he's fleeing. This guy's just walking on the mountain, just throwing rocks and dirt and probably clunks of poop and whatever else he can find. Just trying to discourage David, calling him a man of blood. Your blood's come back on your own head. And Shimei did all these terrible things. And then he hears David's not dead. David won, and David's going back to Jerusalem. And he's like, crap, I'm going to die. And so he runs down as fast as he can. He's pushing through all these people of Judah, trying to get to the king. David's just about to cross over the Jordan. He's already on this little raft that they made for him, and he's about to cross the Jordan. And Shimei falls down in front of him, and he begs for mercy and forgiveness. And one of the sons of Zeruiah is like, "Shouldn't we kill him?" I think it's Abishai. He says, "Shouldn't we just kill this guy?" David's like, "No, it's a good day. It's a good day. We're not going to kill him. We're going to let him live." And he swears not to kill him, which he also holds the promise. But it's interesting because he says it's a good day. This is the day that I'm returning to Israel. It's a good day. You can find forgiveness on this day. But that also meant that if Shimei would have came a day later, he would have been a dead man. And there's also this period of grace that we have right now that even though we messed up like Shimei, we can come back to God. We can run back to God and we can say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I really messed up. I deserve to die. I get that. Please forgive me." We have this opportunity now that we won't have later. When Jesus Christ returns in his power and his glory, it's going to be a little bit late. When he's on his throne, it's too late. And so David was on the way back to his throne. It's a good day. Jesus is on the way back to his throne. It's a good day. Today is the day of salvation. If you haven't made your peace with God, make your peace with God, because otherwise it's not looking good. But anyhow, that's the second interesting guy. Third interesting guy, Mephibosheth. This guy was lame. Literally lame. He couldn't walk, and so he wasn't able to go with David. He gets drug around. There's also some interesting thing about his servant Sibia and how he accused Mephibosheth of different stuff. Things weren't exactly like they appeared. Mephibosheth's heart was actually much better than the other people thought. And unfortunately, in our world, sin and the cares of this life can so entangle us that we also become lame. And other people like Seba, they say, "Well, you look, he's not your friend. David, he's not your friend. Jesus, this guy's not your friend. If he was really your friend, then he would be following you." But the nice thing is that David and Jesus are both merciful, and they see Mephibosheth. He hasn't showered, he hasn't bathed, he hasn't kept his beard, he hasn't cut his hair, he's just been dragging himself through these muddy, crap-filled streets and just looks terrible. And David has mercy on him. And I think when Jesus looks at the person who, on the one hand, he loves Jesus, and on the other hand, he's so entangled in his sin or his concerns that he's not able to walk freely, I think both Jesus and David look on this person with mercy. But there was this element in which it had to be difficult for Mephibosheth. Like if Mephibosheth would have just kicked his feet up and been like, it's all right, I'm just going to enjoy life in the palace, I'm going to have a new king now if that's what's better for me, then David would not have bought this story. The reason that David bought it is because Mephibosheth's heart was so broken and torn. And if we say, well, I'm just stuck in my sin and that's just, I can't overcome, and so I just put my feet up and I just enjoy life, I don't know if David's going, or if Jesus is going to buy that either. If we are stuck in sin, then we should be heartbroken. It should be a difficult, painful process. It should definitely be inferior to living the life of freedom that Jesus Christ offers us. So, yeah, my encouragement is that if you have the feeling, oh man, I've been so entangled in sin and I try to get out and I fall and I've not been successful, is there any chance of my salvation? I would say yes. The righteous man falls 7 times but gets up every time. And my encouragement for you is to continue to get up and to continue to pursue freedom, to continue to cry out, Son of David, have mercy on me, until Jesus does do the work of freeing you, which I can make a whole video to the many step processes that often happen. I'm really jealous of the people who get freed of addictions immediately. Didn't happen to me that way. But my encouragement is just like, if you're stuck wallowing, crawling through the mud like Mephibosheth, there's still hope. Don't give up. The king is returning, and when he returns, he will put you back into a good place. Yeah. And then we have our last guy. So we had Amasa, Shimei, Mephibosheth, and finally Barzillai. And Barzillai, he's really interesting because he's just an example of what you're supposed to be. He gave generously to the king on the day of his tribulation. And now the king pretty much says, you can have anything you want from me. Though Barzillai, he's like, you know what, I'm an old man. I'm probably going to die soon. I can't really enjoy these things. Let my son enjoy them instead. And David says, I will give him anything you want me to give him. It's amazing. He's pretty much saying he is a Miterbe. He is a co-heir of the kingdom, which is also what we become in Christ. When we live the Christian lifestyle as it's meant to be, then we become co-heirs. Mephibosheth got to split part of an inheritance. But it's the one who sticks with Christ through thick and thin, who goes through him with everything. It's like the story of the prodigal son. It was the older son to whom the father said, everything that I have is yours. Yeah, and if we stick with Christ through thick and thin, then he says, everything I have is yours. You get it all. You did it, man. You won. You have it all. You serve me in my weakness. And of course, we know that according to Matthew 25, whatever we do or do not do unto the least of these my brothers, we do or do not do unto Christ. So it's not about like literally having Jesus Christ in front of you. It's about whatever one of our especially Christian brethren is in trouble, serving that person is serving Jesus Christ. And when we serve these brethren, be it emotional needs or physical needs or whatever it is, when we serve them, then we're doing that unto Jesus. And if we walk out that righteous lifestyle and discipleship to Christ, we can have the earnest expectation that when the last day comes, he says, you've done it, man. You're in. Whatever you want is yours. You are a co-heir of the kingdom. So that is very cool. And that is what we want to strive for. The other 3 guys, thank God for grace. But in the end, we want to be the kind of guy who lives such a life that in the last day he says, you are a good and faithful servant. Come in to the celebration. Come in and receive what has been prepared for you. Wow, that will be a great day. I hope that encourages your heart. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.